Hello everyone and welcome back to another coaching session brought to you by Regoska. The purpose of this is to basically teach us how to be better gamers and to execute certain builds. This build was provided to me by Solidus as a Terran versus Protoss strategy. I believe this game was played on the ladder as we've got the red and the green. I believe this was a ladder match. But we'll see how Solidus executes a Thor rush to counter a 4-gate from our Protoss player, which would be great to get started off. I just want to announce I will be streaming here probably next week, next Thursday actually. I believe I'm going to start it at 7 p.m. and I'm going to be doing a kind of King of the Hill style tournament play beginning at 7 p.m. probably and going till about 10. It's going to basically be like a typical King of the Hill where basically we have two players start off playing each other. The winner of the game continues, whereas the loser is dropped from the tournament. So yeah, definitely keep an eye out for that. Again, thank you to all my subscribers for subscribing. You guys are awesome. And you can find information about this replay at thestarcast.com on the forums there at www.thestarcast.com. Now we do see Solidus building his barracks here. It looks like he is getting ready to wall off. Now I've noticed that when I play Terran, walling off against Protoss is another way to basically stop the 4-gate because you basically keep the zealots from getting into your base, and you can actually do a lot more damage. And we do not have that probe coming up. But if we look at this build, he does get his gas fairly early, a 13 refinery, and you want to get guys put on gas right away just because of the fact that you are going for those fast Thors. Just a small little bump there, you know, he missed his refinery time by a couple seconds. You can actually rally those SCVs over to that refinery just before it's finished, as you can see the bar going up. I can actually back that up and kind of show you there. Let's see how many times I have to go back here. But as you can see here, right when it gets to about this point right here, you start sending two SCVs that had just returned minerals to the command center and get in that refinery right away. It does speed up your gas timing just a little bit. As you notice, he did have guys out of that refinery for just a little bit. So just a small little hiccup there, but again, that'll help keep you up. And another thing you want to do against a Protoss's 4-gate is you do want to have one of your SCVs follow this probe around just to keep from any kind of proxy shenanigans from being put up. That way there's no pylons being snuck in up here, here, or here. So you definitely want to use this SCV to sneak around and check all of that out. We do have constant marine production here in this build, which will allow him to get some very good defenses as well, so he doesn't rely on just the Thors, but Thors and Marines. And now we see that factory going up, still just currently on the 1 gas, and we'll be seeing that second refinery going up any minute now. It looks like he's just waiting for the money there. It is 75 minerals, and looks like, will he start that refinery? No, not yet. Looks like he is holding off just a bit. There goes that refinery now. Probably could have gotten that refinery just a little bit sooner, and it would have smoothed out the transition just a little bit. And if you are pretty good at micro, you can actually keep that SCV in the base quite a bit longer than he did there, until that stalker is near completion. So you've got just a little bit more time. If we look here on this approximate build, it looks like that stalker will be out at about the 4-minute and 40-second mark. So you want to keep that in mind when you're scouting with that SCV, is you can actually stay in the base for quite a long time, get as much information as possible. Because as you can see, those 3 gateways have been going up now for quite a while, and he would have seen that 4-gate coming for quite a while. But it looks like that SCV does just make it into the base. Now we do have the armor going up right when the factory finishes, and he's also getting a starport, so he can get the Thor drop set up as well. We do also have constant SCV production and getting those guys in gas right away. I did manage to watch this replay a few times from both players' point of view, and it doesn't look like he scouted that 4 warp gate. And like I said, if you keep that SCV alive in the base long enough, you can actually know when he's going to go 4 warp gate against you, because the stalker won't be up in time and he's got to get those gateways up. If he does delay those 3 warp gates until after that stalker's out, it'll be pretty easy to counter it because it'll be so far delayed. And as you can see, that starport is now produced and the first Thor is now on its way out. But we do have the small hiccup here. We are supply blocked, so it does delay that Thor just a little bit. as we did get that second supply depot, or third supply depot built, and the fourth one down here, and as well building another supply depot so you can keep building those stores. So just a couple of small little bumps, but I bet you with some smoothing this build would actually be very, very devastating against most Protoss players, especially in the lower leagues. And we do have that Thor just about complete now, and we should be seeing a push coming from our Protoss player very, very shortly. I believe it comes up just as the Thor is finishing. SCV is already in position to begin repairing, as he did scan and revealed those warp gates are up and operational. Here comes that first push, and he is building a proxy pylon so he can warp units into the high ground. It looks like the SCVs are repairing this depot, but letting things into this depot, and that Thor is now out and begins shelling away on those zealots. Now Thors do take quite a bit of time to take down a zealot, and it looks like this Thor is starting to get very, very low, bringing some more SCVs off the line. They are going to begin repairing that Thor, and meanwhile that is going to keep that Thor alive. Now warping in 3 zealots on the high ground. With these marines here, plus this medevac and these Thors, plus the SCVs repairing, that this army is basically unstoppable. And you can see he's only got the 1 barracks, the 1 factory, and then the 1 starport, and the starport doesn't even have any add-ons on it. One thing you could do when you're transitioning out of this build is he does have quite a bit of money. He could begin that +1 vehicle weapons upgrade right away, just because he has that extra money available to him, and we'll see how he begins getting more Thors. Meanwhile, building that walled supply depot back up, and we do have another small 4-gate push here coming up the ramp, but it looks like with this Thor here and now another Thor about halfway done, that this will get taken out as well. It does break down that supply depot, allowing the units to get back into the base, and it looks like this Thor though is going to be able to take out. Now that Zealot is working on killing some of those SCVs down, takes out 1 SCV, but the Thor does just massive amounts of damage, and here comes the second Thor able to help push this down. And now the second Thor is out, meanwhile just doing massive amounts of damage to this Protoss 4-gate. Loads up that Thor in the medevac, and you will see him push that out as he uses this Thor to clean up the rest of this. And as you can see here, 1 Thor with a bunch of SCVs repairing it just manages to take down units so quickly. Even has a medevac here, another medevac here to help secure this basically. And it does take 3 shots from a Thor to take down a Zealot, whereas I believe it also takes 3 shots to kill down a Stalker as well. But then you can see he does start to work on that pylon, as the Thor does 60 damage with each of its volleys. 30 and 30. He does have this Thor here, and we do see the GG from Solidius, as he was taken out quite extensively with those Thors. So we do definitely need to know that you do need SCVs to help hold off that initial push, possibly even a bunker up at the ramp. I wonder what this would be like though if you didn't have the wall there, like if you hadn't have walled off. It'd be very interesting to see how that transition takes place. And we do have this 1 Thor, meanwhile doing some damage to those Zealots, dropping that Thor around, and it looks like he is going to get that Thor out of here. Meanwhile he's pushing up with this Thor and these SCVs, and even has another Thor in the back. So quite a substantial army here. These Zealots are going to take massive amounts of damage before getting down to that Thor. A little indecision there whether or not to attack the Zealots or not. But as you can see here, this Thor is going to be just fine, as that second Thor is now heading up here. More SCVs getting ready to repair. So you can see how this rush of Thors does manage to take down this 4-gate quite extensively. Could possibly even be a lot stronger if there was only like a 3-gate expand build maybe. Could definitely do some pretty significant damage to the Protoss army if you only had 3-gate expand, or even 1-gate robo expand. I have a feeling this build would do pretty extensively against that, unless he managed to get out an immortal. But as most Protoss, when they do a 3-gate expand, they definitely go for a kind of more observer type build. Chances are the Thor would be out before the immortal even gets too close. But as you can see now, that the players did both leave the game. So as you can see, this build is very devastating against the Protoss player. We do have 3 Thors on the map right now at 12 minutes, and not a lot that the Protoss player can do except try to kill off these SCVs that are repairing. But that Thor does do massive amounts of damage. We see on that first Thor he does have 35 kills already. So if you did want to go for that achievement, I believe it's 30 kills without a unit dying, this build would also help you do that. Thank you for tuning in, and enjoy.